Hello, and welcome to Module 1, Government Control of Public Education by Kelly Gatewood. A little bit about me. I've been married to my husband, Scott, for 20 years. We have 3 girls, Kelsey, who's 11, Emily, who's 9, and Mallory, who's 5. Secretly, I kind of want to be Amish, but I don't want to give up all of my luxuries. And so some of the things I enjoy is gardening, canning, cross-stitching, watching my kids play sports. And I spend a lot of time doing that now, especially as they get older. Taking naps and watching game shows. I work at Cedar Valley Schools. I've been there for 10 years, and I'm the only math teacher from grades 8 through 12. We're a really small school in southeast Kansas, and there's about 130 kids from pre-K through 12th grade, and we're all in one building. The elementary's at one end and the high school's at the other, and we're separated by our cafeteria and our gymnasium. I am the co-pilot of our redesign team, and I'm also the math team sponsor, and then class sponsors and all of the other normal stuff you do in a small school. There's 3 levels of government: federal, state, and local. The federal government is responsible for ensuring the rights to a free and high-quality education for all K through 12 students. They do this by protecting their civil rights and providing resources for the most in need. They use public data and high-quality research and provide support and infrastructure for schools, districts, and states to help them continuously improve in their work. So the 4 main things that I said they have to do is they are in charge of the policies related to education funding. They make the policies that we have to abide by. They collect the data and research to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the current education system. They identify problems in the education at the national level and then encourage the states of how they can take action sooner than later. And they also enforce the discrimination laws. And that's why we see so many things go to the Supreme Court for decisions that need to be made. The state government is reserved by the power to that by the 10th Amendment, and that gives the state jurisdiction over all powers not reserved by the federal government in the U.S. Constitution, including education, and continues to current programs aimed at providing equal access to quality education for all students, regardless of race, income, gender, ethnicity, language, or immigration status. So basically what that means is the state must provide and allocate funding for public schools. They set the standards for assessments and the curriculum, and they oversee special services for students with disabilities or other challenges. They license all private and public schools in the state, including charter schools. They license teachers and other staff members in the public school, and they are elected and appoint at least some of the local and state school board members. Your local government, their biggest role that they play in the education system is the funding of it. And that is mainly done through property taxes, but it also can be through other state and local taxes. They fund education from kindergarten through the community college level. Their task is to make decisions about the funding, and they serve as a channel between the local communities and the state education departments. They have the power to levy taxes to fund education. They redirect school budgets to meet new priorities. They make decisions on a broad range of issues, such as what courses to offer, if there's going to be a new school, where it's going to be located, the safety or the health or of traffic issues with a new school, the role the school is going to play in the community life, and like I said earlier, this is mainly funded through property taxes. Your local school board, they meet monthly. Sometimes some schools meet twice a month. In almost every community in America. These are generally elected by the general public. They serve a variety of functions. They develop the policies within the district. They adopt the school budget. They employ the superintendent. The direction and adoption of the district curriculum, the acceptance of collective bargaining agreements, and they determine the policies to guide hiring of other district staff. The local school board members are usually part of their community. Most of the time they have children in the school district, and they tend to be well educated. But these positions are purely volunteer, but once in a while some schools might offer them a stipend for their services. They are not involved in the daily operation of the school, but they are expected to create an organizational structure in which the individual schools can operate effectively. Local school boards frequently work closely with the community as well, hearing the input from local citizens on the policy and administrative concerns. My personal experiences with all three levels. I don't have much at the federal level other than the rules that they have in place that we must follow. There's a lot of rules that you don't realize that you have to follow. One of them, for example, at our school is the food service competition that we have to follow. Just certain things like we can't open our concession stands until 4:15 because we don't want to lose our funding for our free and reduced lunches. The state ones, I'm more aware of these laws because I'm on so many different teams in our district. The KISA team, the redesign team, the Title I, and I see how all of that works together. And I also see how challenging it can be, and that I would like to see the state work more to streamline some of those services and some of those reports and stuff. Local personal experience, I've had quite a bit of experience with the school board because being on the negotiation team and the redesign team, I've had to go to a lot of school board meetings. And I also know all of my school board members because I have most of their kids in school. Because we're such a small school, it's pretty easy if we need something from them to reach out to them and get things handled pretty quickly. Standard correlation. This assignment demonstrated my understanding of the PLO 6 because it provided me with the content to understand the different levels of the laws and the regulations that we must follow in education. It allowed me to know which levels is responsible for each law and to know if we needed to advocate for a change, who we would need to deal with. It then asked me to place these 4 categories in order, and I placed them in order of communication, operation system, management, and then technology. And I chose this because I feel communication is something we are missing most of the time. And when people make decisions and laws, I think they usually have their best interest in mind, but they don't understand how it affects everybody. And being in such a small district, I see how decisions other people make affect us tremendously. Like when we lose one kid, last year's graduating class had 5 kids in it. One dropped out, and that put us at an 80% graduation rate. And it's hard, when the state looks at you and, well, why is your graduation rate only 80%? And it's hard to make our effective rate high when things like that happen. So I just think that we have to keep that communication open, and we try really hard to advocate for small schools and, talk to our people at the state to make them understand why some decisions don't work so well for us as, a bigger school. I put technology as my least one just because, not that I think technology is not important, but sometimes I think that we rely on technology too much and it's always a priority. And sometimes I think we let other things lack because of that. Relevancy. I thought this assignment was relevant to my current learning because I really didn't realize the federal government had such a small control over the education system. I didn't realize how much the state makes the decisions on so many things that we do. And I think that makes it easier for us to make changes if we need to. And we just need to keep building those relationships with people at the state level and having them understand the decisions they're making and how sometimes their decisions aren't always the best for every school. I also learned that our school board needs to put more of their policies online on our website because I was not able to find near as much information about it as some of the others in this class. Luckily, I have quite a bit of experience with it, and so I knew what they did, but we definitely don't have it on our website like everybody else did. Reflection. This assignment will change how I teach and learn because I've made connections with people at different levels of the education system, and I know now that they can have more influence on decision making than I originally thought. I really like the school improvement, the report side of the education system, but I also see the struggles with it. I see the reports we have to fill out for Title I and our KISA reports and when we did our redesign reports. And I felt like they were all asking the same thing, but they all wanted in their own different formats. And I wish the people at the state worked together more to be able to streamline all of that kind of stuff. And I can remember, when we were doing our redesign, our principal and us were talking about how we could do this all as one report. And we said that to some of the state people and they were like, can they do that? And we did. And so we've proven that we can do it, but we need to make sure that, the state's aware of how much work it is, especially for our small districts, to do all of this because we don't have somebody hired, just to fill out these reports like bigger school districts do. And so I keep voicing of how important it is for all people, and for what works for one doesn't always work for others. And I'm going to continue to keep working to make connections with all types of people, because the more people we know, the more people we can get help with and have in our toolbox if we need it. And here are my references, and have a good day. Thank you.